Hey 49er fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome into Chat Sports, and today we're going to go and answer some more mailbag questions. We had our first mailbag of the week just a couple of days ago, and now we're going to do our second one because there were so many questions, so many comments on our mailbag request video that I want to get to as many as I can. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and start here with, let's go with Jack first. Where would you rank Jimmy G out of all the quarterbacks, and where would you rank him if he has 2 to 4 less interceptions this year? And you see Trent Williams being a big help towards this. Okay, so where I rank Jimmy Garoppolo, I've talked about this. I mean, there are a lot of good quarterbacks in the league. He's somewhere between 11 and 16. He's somewhere in the early teens. He's not a top 10 quarterback yet, because there are a lot of really good quarterbacks in the league. Just start thinking of them in your head. There's Drew Brees, there's Matt Ryan, there's Tom Brady, there's Patrick Mahomes, there's Carson Wentz. Like, you can go down the list. Russell Wilson. There are a lot of good quarterbacks in the league. So the ranking right now is 11 to 16. And then the big thing I want to focus on here, you ask about interceptions. 2 to 4 less interceptions will make a massive difference for Jimmy Garoppolo this year. Here are the quarterbacks with the most INTs in 2019, and you'll notice Garoppolo's sitting there at number 4. Winston threw 30, so he obviously was the worst quarterback in terms of interceptions. Mayfield threw 21, Rivers threw 20, Garoppolo and Kyle Allen, the Panthers starter, tied at 16. So you bring that down, and you get that to 12 interceptions, so 4 less, and that's a lot more towards the middle of the pack in terms of interceptions. A lot of the elite quarterbacks, let me say, all the elite quarterbacks do not throw more than 15 interceptions in a season. Majority of them are under 10, maybe 10 or 11. So Jimmy G really needs to bring that down. I think that could be one of the main reasons why he could vault into the top 10 in terms of quarterback rankings going into 2020. Now, the flip argument of this is, Thomas, Jimmy Garoppolo threw 16 picks and had a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter against the Chiefs in Super Bowl 54. So is it that big of a deal? No, but I think for consistency's sake and to make national media pundits a little more excited about Jimmy Garoppolo, throwing less interceptions could be a beneficial thing there for the 49er quarterback. And Trent Williams, will he be a massive help? No, but he'll be a help. I mean, being protected on your blind side is going to help. But the 49ers had Joe Staley, and I thought that the fill-in guy, Justin School, played decently enough, so it wasn't like Jimmy Garoppolo was throwing picks because he had no time. I think he had plenty of time, so it'll help, but not a lot. So hopefully that answers the question there for the start. I'll ask you guys this, though. He threw 16 last year. How many interceptions will Jimmy Garoppolo throw in 2020? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. All right, moving on. More questions here. We'll start with Equan Wright, or we'll continue with Equan Wright. Hashtag 49ers, pay Kittle 15 mil, not 20. Okay, not really a question, but yes, I agree. I think I talked about this in the first mailbag video. I'm not paying George Kittle $20 million. They paid George Kittle $20 million today, and I jumped on here for my 49ers report, and I would talk about the news as I always do. I will say that's a bad deal, because $20 million for a tight end is just a terrible deal. It makes no sense. I don't care what the stats were. I don't care how great the stats were. Tight ends in the National Football League are not worth wide receiver money, despite the argument that a lot of people are like, well, Kittle is a wide receiver plus a tight end. I mean, plus a blocker. He's a little bit of both. Here's the deal. Most teams are not going to throw a double team on George Kittle every single snap like the top receivers in the National Football League. So you're telling me George Kittle deserves $20 million a year. That puts him right in between Julio Jones and Amari Cooper as the 2 highest paid wide receivers in the NFL. More than Michael Thomas, more than A.J. Green, more than Tyreek Hill. You're telling me right now, let's be honest, right now, you would rather have George Kittle on your team than Julio Jones, Amari Cooper, Michael Thomas, and Tyreek Hill. I disagree. I take all of those over George Kittle right now in a heartbeat, because you can still have beneficial and really good tight ends who are not elite tight ends for a lot cheaper on the free agent market, or you could trade for one or draft one, and whereas a star wide receiver, you can ask the 49ers, do not grow on trees. The 49ers have not had one in a very, very long time. I love Kittle. He's going to resign. I just don't think it'll be for $20 million. I think it needs to be for less, and I will keep saying that until they either pay him 20 or they pay him 15, which we'll have to wait and see what happens. Okay, here's actually a good question. How much would you guys pay for George Kittle per year? Type 15 down below for $15 million, or type 20 down below for $20 million. I'm curious who's on my side and who's against me. I'll read the comments and respond to some. Let me know down below. Stephen Reynolds asks, will Kittle hold out if a deal is not met? No, I don't think he will hold out. Although, the flip argument is he doesn't lose much if he does, because he has a lot of the leverage here, because the Niners have said they're going to pay him. They said they're going to pay him a lot of money, so holding out could be a smart thing to do, which is what NBC Sports Bay Area actually said on this question just a couple of, I think like a couple months ago. Quote, he doesn't come off to me as that type of player, but we've all seen players who have held out in previous years. It happens. It's a business decision, and guys have to be smart about their bodies and know that. And know that if I do stuff on this practice field or I do stuff on this game field and I get injured, I don't have anything to secure my future, that's on me. We see this argument all the time of, oh my goodness, well, he's hurting the team by not being there. And it's like, oh, well, he's trying not to get hurt. It always comes out, if a player does get hurt before he gets a new contract, that they always blame the player for not holding out. And then when they hold out, they blame him for not being a good teammate. So if I was George Kittle, I would not hold out, but I would also be gauging the current interest in the amount of money that they want to pay me. And if George Kittle wants $20 million, which is ridiculous, and the Niners don't want to pay him, then maybe his only option is to hold out. I don't think Kittle's that kind of player. I think he's a big team-first guy. I think he loved the 49er organization, and I think they're going to get a deal done. But if we get to training camp and no deal is done, which, I mean, look, check the calendar here, it's coming up, then maybe he will hold out overall. I do not think he will, but that's because I think a deal will be met. If a deal's not met, then I think all cards are on the table for anything to possibly happen in terms of George Kittle in that category. All right, so we are still doing the Stronger Together t-shirt campaign because COVID-19 is still going on, and the COVID-19 Relief Fund is still going on as well, which, of course, was what all of the money for these t-shirts goes to at chatsports.com/sfstrong. They're all on sale right now, and they have hoodies available as well. So all you got to do, go to the link down below. You see it below me right now as well. It's in the description box. It's all there for you, and pick up one of these SF Strong t-shirts, which you can get in men's, in women's, in different colors, and in the hoodie version as well, and all proceeds, benefit the COVID-19 Relief Fund. All right, let's see more questions here. Anthony Garcia asks, if Sherman can play 2 to 3 Pro Bowl years and help the Niners win a Super Bowl, will he be remembered as a Seahawk, Niner fan, or both? Listen, Sherman played 7 years in Seattle. He played 2 years right now, currently in San Francisco. He almost won 2 Super Bowls with the Seahawks, won 1. I think he will always be remembered as part of the Legion of Boom. Even if he wins with San Francisco, I think the national perspective will have him as a Seattle Seahawk. But, I mean, Niner fans will have him as a 49er, so I don't really think it matters overall. But he did play way more in Seattle and has actually won a Super Bowl with the Seahawks, and the Legion of Boom is kind of a big deal. Be sure to subscribe to the 49ers Report here. I'm being told we are just a couple of people away from 25,000 subs. So if you're one of those who watch and is not subbed, then go ahead and click the red subscribe button down below. I would greatly appreciate it. Neil Rowland here asked, are the 49ers going to win the Super Bowl this NFL football season? Yes, but I'll leave it up to you guys. If you guys agree with me, yes. What am I saying? No? Yes, the 49ers will win the Super Bowl. Like this video if you agree with me. Up to you. Like this video if you guys would agree with me that the 49ers are going to win the Super Bowl. There'll be 10,000 plus of you guys to watch this video, and not that many likes down below, so I'm gonna know if you don't like the video. You got to click it. That way you know the 49ers are going to win the Super Bowl. Told time for one more. Irfan Mirza says, outside of Kittle, which player do you think San Francisco has to extend, whether it be this year or in the future? Okay, so in our last mailbag video, I showed the list of players who are actually going to be up for a contract extension in 2021. You have Trent Williams, you have Richard Sherman, you have Tevin Coleman. So a lot of those players you need to get done soon, right? Not maybe this offseason, but next offseason. Now, the actual upcoming contracts who we need to start looking at, and maybe not this year, but maybe not next year, in the future, right? The future is so far away. Are some big names. Bosa will be needing a contract, and guess what? It's going to be absolutely massive. Deebo Samuel, if he keeps playing well, will be needing a new contract to get off his rookie deal. And again, this is a while. This is 2 or 3 years in the future, but these are the guys. Mostert, if he continues to be the #1 back, will need a new contract. Fred Warner is about to have 1 final year left on his deal, and he's not going to make a lot in the final year. He's going to want a new deal. I mean, you could throw Kinlaw in there. You could throw another offensive lineman. You could throw Jalen Hurd if he plays well. There are a lot. Emmanuel Mosley might want a new one. There are a lot of really good young 49ers. Drake Greenlaw, who will be wanting contracts upcoming. And then the problem is, when you draft well, there will be some cap casualties. Like, you cannot keep all of them. This is why the Legion of Boom and Seattle eventually were dismantled, because you just can't afford to pay the Shermans and the Thomases, and the Cam Chancellor got hurt, and then you got to pay the linemen, and you Cliff Averill, and you got to pay who the really good linebacker who I'm blanking on right now in terms of there he goes, Bobby Wagner, right? You got to pay all these players, and it's just very, very hard to do. So this comes back to, of course, George Kittle and wanting $20 million, but there are a lot of very good very young players on the 49ers who are going to be wanting contracts in the future, and they'll be big money contracts because we expect guys like Bosa and Samuel and Mostert and Warner to be one of the best players at their position at some point in their careers. Okay, hopefully that answered your entire questions there. I'm pretty sure I got to as many as I possibly could. If your question was not answered, then Stick around. We'll probably do a mailbag video next week, and you might be able to get your question in on that video as well. All the time we have for today here on the 49ers Report. I'm Thomas Mott, signing off. Enjoy the rest of your day.